is Mikael from Healthwise, and we are located at 3807 East 8 Mile Road, about 3 blocks west of Ryan. And we're there to service you Monday through Saturday from 10 to 7. And you can reach us at 586-757-DIET. Again, that's 586-757-3438. You can also reach us at 313-366-DIET. And you can reach me directly as cell at 313-600-8532. I've talked about vitamin D a bunch of times over the past 20 years, and it's so important. And I ran across this report I wanted to show you, but it's so scientific. I thought it might just bore you to death. Plus, somebody had sent it to me on Messenger, and I don't know how to take it from Messenger and put it on, I guess, a DVD. But I'm going to ask somebody and see if we can get that to you. Because even though it was boring to some, it may be intelligent or stimulating to others, just to know the science behind this vitamin D3 and all the many things that it does for your body. But this report was talking about how the vitamin D3 helps you with people with COVID, okay, and flus and other diseases. And about 21 years ago, this Dr. Barefoot told me about vitamin D3 and told us to take in 10,000 IUs per day. And I followed his advice. I've been doing it for like 21 years now, okay? And I found out that the older we get, the more vitamins and supplements we need, because our body is, for some reason, I guess, is not absorbing it like it used to, so you have to take more. But whatever the case is, whether you take more or to take is the same. I'm gonna continue to take more, and because it's doing me good, and I hope if you take more or take some, it would do you good. And based on these studies, everybody that's taking it is doing them good, okay? And is the whole report, nobody had any adverse effects from taking vitamin D3. I remember about 11 years ago, Oprah did a study with her group of scientists, and they suggested people take 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 per day, and nobody had any adverse side effects. We mention that because I think the government still got it set up at 400 if you IUs per day, if you 20, maybe 20 to 30, and 600 if you maybe from 30 to 50, and I think it's 800 if you over 50, okay? But those numbers that you can compare to the 10,000 extremely low. And in this study, just some highlights about it is that surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, is high fructose corn syrup, HFCS, high fructose corn syrup, not the fruit juice you get from fruit, but this concentrated sugar, extremely concentrated sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Well, it deactivates your vitamin D. So the more of that you have in your diet, the more vitamin D your body will need. But that was one study. That's something that I learned about, is that high fructose corn syrup deactivates the vitamin D. And another thing that deactivates the vitamin D is kidney disease. It lowers your vitamin D3 in your body. So if you have kidney disease, it's another indication you might want to increase the amount of vitamin D3. And another study, these are all studies from around the world. This, I would say, was fascinating to me. They found out that as people age, they have less vitamin D. And they found out that people age, they more prone to getting coronavirus. Okay. And that the darker skinned people, they have less vitamin D3 and they have more coronaviruses. And overweight people have less vitamin D3 and they're more prone to coronaviruses. Okay. And the people had the less amount of vitamin D3 had the highest level of deaths, okay, and had the highest level of sicknesses when people don't get enough vitamin D3. And so it's like the less you have of the vitamin D3, the more chances you getting COVID, okay. That was a lot of medical claims, but I just summed it up into some highlights. This was just from my notes. But if you go to medcram, okay, .com, you can check out the report there, okay. And as far as Messenger and getting it and checking it out, I don't have that. Let me see if I could pull it up right quick from Messenger. It just says vitamin D, okay, and COVID-19. The evidence for prevention and treatment of coronaviruses, SARS-CoV-2. Okay, this is Professor Roger. His last name is spelled SEHEULT. The MD explained the importance role of vitamin D3 may have in the prevention and treatment of COVID-19. This doctor illustrates how vitamin D3 continues on to be so valuable. Now, he mentioned it on YouTube, so whenever you have things like this on YouTube, you might want to go to it right away before they take it down, because they're doing a lot of censoring of information, like Hitler did when he burned the books. Okay, they just want you to have that one opinion that they're giving you. But in America, which is one of the foundations, is our freedom to speak, and that's our first right, is freedom to speak. So I went to the next best thing, Dr. McCullough, MERCOLA.com, and he gives you how do you know the 14 signs of vitamin D3 deficiency. Now, he also suggests that, Dr. McCullough, that you take vitamin K2. It helps with the absorption of D3. Matter of fact, I consider these the big four, is that because not only does he suggest you take vitamin K2, 200 micromilligrams of that per day, but also magnesium. And we know that for years scientists zero in on vitamin D3 is helping to with the absorption of calcium. So those big four is what I call them: vitamin D3, vitamin K2, calcium, and magnesium. It's so important for so many different functions, in your body. A lot of folks look at it as the bones and this calcium, but calcium is involved in a lot of different functions in your body, for your blood, your heart, circulation, and your brain. It's just so many different important nutrients that those four have involved in as far as the functioning of your body at peak performance. Now, just at a glance, I don't know if we can get through to all of this, but physical symptoms of vitamin D3 inefficiency may include aching muscles, painful bones, reduced physical performance, poor sleep, hair loss, and slow healing wounds. You may also experience poor sleep, fatigue, dizziness, increased risk of dementia and depression, increased weight, reoccurring infections, and reduced cognitive functions. It's that brain is just not functioning like it used to. Vitamin D3 plays a role in nearly every bodily systems, including fighting against viral and bacterial illnesses such as colds, flus, and COVID-19. The only way to know your serum levels is to take a blood test. If you choose to supplement with vitamin D3, it's important to include magnesium, vitamin K2, MK7, to achieve optimum levels and improve your cognitive and cardiovascular health. Because I'm hearing that a lot of folks get that shot, they developing blood clots. Well, that's right along that line with the cardiovascular health, okay? So I always tell people, which is what I got from the American Frontline Doctors, if you're going to get the shot and you have second thoughts or you just don't want to get the shot, then they suggest you take zinc, anywhere from 10 to 50 milligrams per day. Vitamin D3, of course, 10,000 per day I use, and vitamin C, 1 to 3,000 milligrams per day, and quercetin, okay, that's quercetin, anywhere from 400 to 1,000 milligrams of that per day. Vitamin D regulates the expression of hundreds of genes and is internal to biological functions that affect every bodily system. As you'll see in this short video, vitamin D inefficiencies or deficiencies can trigger several generalized symptoms that may have association with your health conditions. It's also called the sunshine vitamin, since your skin makes vitamin D when exposed to ultraviolet light from the sun. Vitamin D performs many functions within the body, including maintaining adequate levels of calcium and phosphate, essential for normal bone materialization. It helps reduce inflammation, which is necessary for the microregulation of cell growth and immune function. Vitamin D also affects genes that help regulate cell differentiation. Okay, the main indicator of vitamin D3 level is the 25 hydroxy vitamin D3 or 25 OHD. Data collected from National Health and Nutritional Examinations Survey in 2005 and 2006 show a deficiency equivalence of 41.6% in the U.S. population. However, as I'll discuss this later in this article, as many as 80% of the people may be deficient in vitamin D3. Back in the summertime, I ran across this article talking, it was a worldwide study, similar to what we have here, that it said that if people in Chicago and Boston was to take 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 per day, they would prevent 80% of the deaths from COVID based on the study. It's wild. It's important to note that now the measurement of inefficiency and deficiency is defined dependent on the serum concentration levels that's in your blood. Some researchers use a level of 20 neograms per milliliter or 50, which is what they use in Germany, neomoles per liter. Is used. The most frequency way of measuring the vitamin D3 level in the United States is the neograms per milliliter. However, grassroots health nutrient research institutes recommend vitamin D serum concentration levels of between 40 and 60. And neograms per milliliter. At this level, the number of people who are likely deficient in vitamin D will be significantly higher. 14 signs you may be a deficiency in vitamin D3. During cold and flu season and the COVID-19 pandemic, it is essential to maintain healthy levels of vitamin D3 to help reduce your risk of viral and bacterial illnesses. A blood test is the best way to determine your vitamin D3 levels, but here are some symptoms that may indicate your levels are too low. Aching muscles. Nearly half of all adults are affected by muscle pain. Researchers believe most of those are deficiency in vitamin D3. Some studies have suggested that nerves have vitamin D3 receptors that affect the perception of pain. In one animal model, research demonstrated a vitamin D deficiency diet can induce deep muscle hypersensitivity that was not connected to low levels of calcium. There you have it. Number 2, painful bones. Vitamin D regulates the level of calcium in your body necessary to protect your bone health. Vitamin D deficiency can cause your bones to soften, cause some disease. This may be a precursor for osteoporosis. Number 3, fatigue. This is a common symptom for a variety of different health conditions, including sleep deprivation. Researchers have found that supplementing cancer patients suffering from fatigue can improve their symptoms. In one study, using 174 adults with fatigue and stable mental conditions, the researchers found that 77.2% were deficient in vitamin D3. After normalizing their level, the fatigue symptoms improved significantly. Just get vitamin D3 into your system. Interesting. Reduce muscle performance. Vitamin D3 deficiency is a common in athletes. Okay, vitamin D is critical for muscle development, strength, and performance. Older adults taking a vitamin D3 supplement has a reduced risk of falls and improved muscle performance. Correction through oral supplementation or sensible sun exposure may reduce symptoms of less fragileness, musculoskeletal pain, and frequent illnesses. Vitamin D3 also has a direct effect on muscle performance. In one paper from the Journal of American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, the author wrote, quote, The higher serum levels of vitamin D are associated with reduced injury rates and improved sports performance. In the subset of the population, vitamin D3 appears to play a role in muscle strength, injury protection, and sports performance. Then we have this product called, it's for athletes that take things like Gatorade that give you like 10 or 15 nutrients. This is called Rebound. And it gives you 110 or 120 nutrients. Remember, now we're going to add the vitamin D to that performance for the athletes. Brain health. I'm very interested in that. Brain health is also essential for vitamin D3 is also essential for brain health. Symptoms of deficiency include dementia caused by increase of subtle and unsoluble beta amyloids, a factor in Alzheimer's disease. Researchers has also found an association with depression that may be associated with the function of vitamin D3 buffering higher levels of calcium in the brain. Vitamin D3 deficiency in pregnant women can increase the risk of autism and schizophrenia-like disorder in the baby. Ooh. So not only are we going to have to recommend the Ultimate Classic for pregnant women, we're going to have to recommend that take the vitamin D3 too. One study of people with fibromyalgia found a vitamin D deficiency was more common in those who had anxiety and depression. Another look at vitamin D3 deficiency in obese subjects and found a relationship between low levels and vitamin D and depression. People are like, what can I do to lose this weight? Now we got an extra soldier now, vitamin D3. Poor sleep. The mechanism of linking vitamin D3 and poor sleep quality has not been identified, but researchers have found people with low levels of vitamin D have poor qualities of sleep and a higher risk of sleep disorder. Sweaty heads, excess sweating, especially on the head, as a change in your pattern of sweating can indicate a vitamin D deficiency. Hair loss is critical to proliferation of ketocytes and play an important role in your hair cycle. The vitamin D receptors appear to play a role in the alkaline pause of hair growth, leading research to conclude treatments that upregulated the vitamin D receptors may be successful in treating hair disorders and a potential area of future studies. Low healing wounds. It just take forever to heal, they say. Chronic wounds are a major public health challenge. In the U.S., 2% of the population is affected with chronic wounds and is essential for account for 5.5% of the cost of human health care in the UK. Just wounds. Vitamin D3 promotes wound healing and the creation of castellithium, a peptide that helps fight infections. Dizziness. Evidence from animals models suggests that vitamin D is critical in the development of inner ear, which affects balance and coordination. Analysis of people with vitable neuralist characteristic by vertigo show low serum vitamin D levels than in people without vertebrate in neuralists. Heart problems. Clinical studies have shown that vitamin D3 improves circulation, can help improve blood pressure. In one study, researchers discovered that vitamin D3 also has a significant effect on the endothelial cells that lines your cardiovascular system. They found that it helps balance the concentration of uric oxide and peroxides, which improve endothelial functions. Weight loss. Vitamin D affects obesity has not been determined. However, data do show there is a high probability of deficiency in people who are overweight. Number 17. Recurring infections. There have been multiple epidemiological studies that show vitamin D3 deficiency can increase the risk of infections and raise the sensitivity, particularly in respiratory tract infections. Multiple studies have demonstrated that vitamin D3 deficiency increased the potential risk for severe diseases and mortality, especially in those who have critical illnesses. Vitamin D3. This is a bad sucker right there. Okay, vitamin D3. And that's not no joke. Reduce conjugate function. Data show, this number 14, that vitamin D deficiency increase your risk of dementia twofold and raise your risk of impaired conjugate functions. Got to keep that brain going. Vitamin D3. 80% of the people with COVID-19 are deficiency in vitamin D3. 80%. Vitamin D3 plays an important role in the development and severity of diseases. This is why, from the very beginning, COVID-19 pandemic, I suggested that optimizing vitamin D levels would particularly lower the increase of infections and death in the general population. 80%. Just taking 10,000 IUs of vitamin D, 5,000. Ooh, one pill, man. Since then, modern evidence has revealed this is indeed the case, as researchers have repeatedly found that high levels of vitamin D3 reduce the rate of positive tests, hospitalization, and mortality related to this infection. One study we released in the late 2020 assessed this serum 25 OHD levels of patients hospitalized with COVID-19 to evaluate the influence it might have on severity of the disease. The researchers found that 82.2% of those with COVID-19 were vitamin D deficient have a lower level than 20 milligrams per milliliter. Interesting. They also found that those who were deficient had a greater prevalence of cardiovascular disease. It didn't stop there. High blood pressure. Didn't stop there. High iron levels. Didn't stop there. And longer hospital stays. Now that means money, but didn't stop there. A second study found that familiar results for people who only tested positive for COVID-19. This is getting good. In other words, these patients who were tested for the illness using the PCR test, which gives notoriously high false positive results, and did not necessarily have symptoms of illnesses. Yet those who were likely deficient in vitamin D also had increased risk of testing positive. Vitamin D for Detroit, man. Come on. Recent data show people who received a supplemental vitamin D while hospitalized with COVID-19 had a reduced admission to the ICU by 82%. And recently mortality rate was reduced to 64%. Editor's note, this preprint study has since been pulled due to concerns about the description of research of this paper, but an archived version is still available. Don't let nobody censor you, man. Come on. You can read more about the study from information published before being pulled. Vitamin D supplementation reduced COVID-19 deaths by 64%. Yeah, God. Before the paper was removed, this information triggered British MP David Davis to call for a reevaluation of the official recommendations for vitamin D. He tweets, the findings of this large and well-conducted study shows results in this therapy being administered to every COVID-19 patient in every hospital in the temperature latitudes, just everywhere. Get the vitamin D, man. It's from the UP back. Well, anyway, he added that the demonstration of the clear relationship between vitamin D3 and COVID mortality is essential, and his government should raise the availability of free vitamin D3 supplements to vulnerable population. Other experts also call for official vitamin D recommendation. It's important to remember the data show people who had deficiency in vitamin D have a higher risk of severe diseases have been available long before the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet information may suggest that other sides of the same coin, namely supplemented with vitamin D3, may have a positive effect on diseases. Severity can come under attack. Okay, it isn't a big leap to understand that if you're simply inexpensive solution such as vitamin D, dihydrochloroquine, and zinc may reduce the potential risk of severe diseases and death. The billions of dollars the pharmaceutical company stands to make by vaccinating the world would be lost. Unlike the painful reports of vaccine adverse events received by the U.S. Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, supplementing with vitamin D3, magnesium, K2 have been studied for years and found to be well tolerated. Add to which the study of vitamin D has demonstrated inefficiencies and deficiencies associated with a number of health conditions, including which you can find more information about in, quote, Are You Ready for the Darkest Days of the Year? And 2, Health Conditions and Vitamin D played an important role. Those 2 articles, of course, you can get on the Mercola's website, MERCOLA. Magnesium and Vitamin D3. Okay. No, Magnesium and Vitamin K2 optimizes your vitamin D3 levels. In the past, I've written about the importance of taking vitamin K2, yes, MK7, and magnesium with your vitamin D3 supplements. I add calcium to that formula. Both plays an important role in your overall health and the bioavailability and application of vitamin D3 in the body. If you're not using magnesium and vitamin K2, you should need necessary 2.5 times more vitamin D. Well, based on what the grass root health discovered. Okay. Matter of fact, you can call grassroot or send them an email, maybe even a text. Grassroothealth.org, or I think it's .org or .com. But they can test to see what the serum level of vitamin D3 is in your body. Over 10,000 individuals provided information about supplementing use and overall health status to Green Root Health since they began conducting a large-scale population-based nutrients research in 2007. That information has led to the recommendation of vitamin D levels between 40 milligrams per milliliter and 60 milligrams per milliliter are safe and effective, and lower overall diseases indicate and health costs, as reported by Grassroots Health from the data. 240% more supplement of vitamin D was needed for 50% of the population to achieve a 40 milligrams per milliliter, 100 for those not taking supplemental magnesium and vitamin K2 compared to those who are using both supplementing vitamin D3, magnesium, and K2. In practical terms, this means that when you take vitamin vitamin K2, tongue twister, and magnesium and vitamin D, you may need far less vitamin D to achieve an optimum level. You'll find more about the relationship between these supplements and how they can improve cognitive functions and impact on mortality rate based on this report from magnesium and K2 vitamins and vitamin B supplemental. So it's interesting. How you can optimize your health. How you can optimize your vitamin D health. How about that? In the report that I was talking about earlier, that I gave you the name of, they suggested that people that live, like I say, it's 33 degrees above the equator and below the equator, in that zone, you get a lot of sun, but above 35 degrees, you get less sun. And they made a connection between people who live in the north have more of the diseases than those who live in the south. I don't know the details about that, but we're going to continue to do research. And in the meantime, take my vitamin D3. While most people would probably benefit from D3 supplement, it is important to get your vitamin D levels tested before you start in supplement. The reason for this is because you cannot rely on basic dosage recommendation. The critical factor here is your blood level and not the dose, as the dose you need is dependent on several individual factors, including baseline blood level. Data from Grassroot Health D-Action studies suggest that optimal levels for health and disease prevention is between 60 milligrams per milliliter and 80 milligrams per milliliter, while the cutoff for sufficiency appears to be around 40 milligrams per milliliter. In Europe, the measurements are looking for a fewer, 250 to 200. The the way they measure in Europe, but you take that number, you divide it by 2.5, and you'll get the equivalent to America. So I published a comprehensive vitamin D report in which I detail vitamin D mechanisms of actions and how to secure optimum levels. I recommend downloading and starting that report with everyone you know. A quick summary of the key, and as a follow, and vitamin as a follow in this measurement. First is what Grassroot Health suggests. First, measure the vitamin D levels. One of the easiest and most cost-effective ways in measuring your vitamin D levels is to participate in the Grassroot Health personalized nutritional projects, which include a vitamin D testing kit. Once you know what your blood level is, you can assess the doses needed to maintain or improve your level. If you cannot get enough vitamin D from the sun, which we can't because we live 33 degrees above the equator, you must use a vitamin D3 to see how much vitamin D your body can make depending on the location and other individual factors. Then you'll need an oil supplementation. People are so deficient in vitamin D3. I don't go through all that. I say, man, look, people have been taking a vitamin D3 since we learned about it in 1999, and people are so deficient on it, nobody has had any adverse effects. But I'm not saying don't call your doctor. I'm just saying check out what Grassroot Health got to say. And your doctor too. But I like Grassroot Health. To assess your individual vitamin D doses. To do that, you can either use the chart below or use Grassroot Health vitamin D calculator to convert milligrams per milliliter into European measurements. Simply multiply the measurement by 2.5 to calculate how much vitamin D you can be getting from regular sun exposure in addition to your supplemental intake. Use the supplement finder, DM finder, and then you get your little details about that. Okay, retest in 3 to 6 months. Likely, you need to remeasure your vitamin D levels in 3 to 6 months to evaluate how your sun exposure and or supplements doses are working for you. Take vitamin D3 with magnesium and calcium and vitamin K2. It says D3, magnesium, vitamin K2, and I would add calcium. That's what I do. Okay. I'm just thirsty for some reason. As detailed in Magnesium and Vitamin D, optimize your as detailed as Magnesium and K2 optimization your vitamin D supplement. It is strongly recommended to take magnesium and K2 connected with oral vitamin D. Data shows that nearly 3,000 individuals reveal your need 244% more oil vitamin D if you are not going to be taking magnesium and K2. What this means in practical terms is that if you take all 3 supplements in combination, you need far less vitamin D3 in order to achieve healthy vitamin D3 levels. So, just to go over that again, he suggests you take vitamin K2, vitamin D3, magnesium, we throw in calcium. You're going to take that, then you may not need to take 10,000 IUs of vitamin D per day. You may just get away with 5,000. I'm not playing around, but that's up to you. Okay. Ta-da. I got through all of that. I didn't think I was. So, let me, it was one he had, mentioned vitamin D report, in which I detail vitamin D mechanisms and actions and how you can optimize that level. Let me see if that will pop up here real quick for you. Since okay, strategies. Oh, no, that's just a book. Okay, no, we're not trying to get a book. That's a report. Come on here. Maybe this was it. Okay. How you'll find more about a relationship between supplement and how they can improve your cognitive function and impact on the mortality rate in this report here. Magnesium and Vitamin K2 optimize your vitamin D supplements. This came out about 6-8 months ago. If you take supplements, vitamin D3, you also need to be mindful of taking extra K2. I think it's 200 micromilligrams, and the magnesium, I think it's 500. Or if you see, I take the Osteo FX. That's I get from Dr. Wallach, and each 1 ounce serving gives me 1,200 milligrams of the calcium and 600 milligrams of the magnesium. And then I take 200 micromilligrams of the vitamin K2 and 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3. That's the formula. Okay. Now, here's another suggestion. Okay. It's important to increase your vitamin K2 intake when taking high doses of vitamin D3 to avoid complications associated with excess audio calcification. You need 146% more vitamin D3 to achieve a blood level of 40 milligrams per milliliter. If you do not take supplement magnesium compared to taking vitamin D3 with at least 400 milligrams of magnesium per day. Vitamin D improves magnesium absorption, but taking large doses of vitamin D can deplete magnesium, as magnesium is required in the conversion of vitamin D into active form. Combined intake of both supplemental magnesium and vitamin K2 has a greater effect on the vitamin D3 benefits than other individuals. You need 244,000 more or vitamin D if you're not taking vitamin D and vitamin K2, I guess, period. So it's best to take more. Okay, I mean, he's got some choices. He didn't tell you how much vitamin D to take yet, but we've seen reports, and like I say, I got the report from Barefoot, who told me 10,000, and Oprah, who told me 10,000. So I'm gonna listen to those because they feel good. Plus, I've been doing it for 21 years, so it's good. Optimize your vitamin D levels, ideally done through sensible sun exposure. Yeah, if you live in Florida, where Dr. McCullough live at, but we live in Detroit, and we don't get that much sun, so supplementation is the way to go. However, many simply are unable to obtain significant levels from the sun alone and need supplemental vitamin D3. In this case, nutritional strategies become an important factor. According to research by Grassroots Health, combined intake of both supplemental magnesium and vitamin K2 has a greater effect on vitamin D levels than either individually. I like that. And those taking both supplements, magnesium and K2, have an even higher vitamin D level for any given vitamin D intake amount to those taking either supplement of magnesium and K2. Either. The 2.5 times more vitamin D if you're taking a magnesium and K2. Grassroots Health. Let me see. Easy at the end. They'll tell you how to get in touch with Grassroots Health. I think it's either grassroothealth.com or grassroothealth.net. Here we go. It is grassroothealth.net. We got it. Okay. You go there and they give you this. They send you this kit because you got to pay a couple of dollars for it. They send you this kit and they tell you what your vitamin D level is in. Okay, where it's at. See, I like Dr. McCullough because he just branch off, and we're working together, the conscious people, and we're going to make more and more people conscious, and fighters or warriors, because we can turn this thing around. Because remember, it's more of us than it is in that Elite group, okay, who are trying to keep on scaring people. Talking about some COVID-19, when over 98% of the people who get it get cured from it. It's interesting. Okay. Now, like I say, if you want to measure your vitamin D3 levels, one of the easiest way to do that is with grassroothealth.net. They can send this kit, put your blood in there, send it back, they give you results. Okay. Now, this kit alone, in the combination with omega-3 tests, this is done at the convenience of your home. So not only you get the vitamin D level, you also get the omega-3 level. Interesting. To make sure your vitamin D levels and immune system functions as optimized, follow these 3 steps. First, measure your vitamin D levels. You can do that by sending your kit off to Grassroots Health. Once you know what your level is, you can access the doses needed to maintain and improve the level. The easiest way to get your level is by getting a regularly run sun exposure. But if you're very dark-skinned, you need to spend about an hour and a half a day in the sun to have a noticeable effect. Man, we be damn burnt up. Spending an hour and a half in the sun every day. Those with very light skin need only 15 cents a day, 15 minutes a day, which is far easier to achieve. Still, they too will tropically struggle to maintain the ideal levels during the winter. So, depending on your situation, you may need to take orally vitamin D3 supplements. The next generation then becomes one, and how much do you need? So to give you the excess in your vitamin D doses is, and you can do the test every 3 months if you like to. Okay. Now, not only will optimizing your vitamin D3 levels be important strategies for you and your family, but it would be really helpful to think about your community as well. If you can, speak to pastors in the church with large congregation of people of color to help them start a program getting their congregation to take vitamin D3. If you have a family member and knows anyone who is an assisted living facility, meet with the director of the program and encourage them to get everyone tested, or at least start taking on vitamin D3. Just a free test. If you're going to do any test, you test your vitamin D3 levels. I'm currently in the process of writing a comprehensive research book to help you in your efforts. We really need an army of people to make differences and build up the immune resiliently of the population before the next wave hit us in the fall. This will work far better than any unsafe or untested vaccine that will most likely never be ready for the fall. Okay, I got to put the date out when this article came out, and that would probably be June the 15th, 2020. That he's predicted wouldn't be no vaccine out, but that prediction turned out to be wrong, because it is alive in here and it's steadily killing people, based on reports I've seen. Ladies tell me that Cecily Tyson died from taking a vaccine. So we're going to do anything be the testing on the vitamin D3 levels in your body. That'd be a good test. That would be a test that I'm going to do. And so I know, and I don't know if I'm going to do it every 3 months, but I definitely can do it at least twice a year, okay? To just find out what the levels is, okay? So, that's one of my favorite subjects, is besides the colon cleanser, the vitamin D3, because it's so important. And it's so inexpensive. But all that, it's about 30,000 functions that your body does, and vitamin D is involved in about 30,000 of them. So give us a call at 313-366-3438 or 313-366-DIET or 586-757-DIET, 586-757-DIET. Of course, come visit us at 3807 East 8 Mile Road, and that's between Ryan and DeQuinta, about 3 blocks west of Ryan. There's the Long John Silver parking lot between us and them, and it's big. They say we can use their lot because our lot is small. So they, other entrepreneurs in the area. Look forward to seeing you folks, and looking even more so for you to share this information with our community, because each one teach one. All right? Peace and love.